But thank you.
Very interesting. So General Hassan says not under an American flag. Ambassador Kumar says the American flag isn't the issue. It's that you can't alienate Iran. You have interests in West Asia, Middle East, call it what you will, in the Gulf. And we'll come to that in a moment. But Captain D.K. Sharma, to your point about this being piracy, that we've seen this before. You're on your own on that one, on this panel at least. So I have to give you a chance to respond. Captain D.K. Yes.
You see, first of all, I didn't say that Houthis are not in touch with the other terror groups. I said they are also state-backed. What weaponry they are using, it cannot come from open market. They are certainly getting supplied. Number two, if the attacks which we are talking about, which happened on our ship in the middle of Arabian Sea, if the coordinates of that ship have been given, from where did they come? Do the Houthis have operations groups? No, they do not have. So the point is, they are directly, indirectly involved somehow or the other. Who is that state? I don't know. Number three, Barkha, everybody's talking about areas. It is so clear that the coalition forces are inside where the density of the ships is much higher, where you need too much of ammunition to, neutralize the threats which are coming out. And the moment the area is increasing, I mean, say, when you're opening out into the Arabian Sea, there is no other navy except Indian Navy. 5 ships, long-range maritime aircraft, Predator, Sea Guardians, you name it, everything is there. We have put such a solid deterrent patrol, and I would like to assure the panel, whatever little knowledge I've got, and I've got 2 admirals with me, Indian Navy is very much capable. I can give you in writing that if the ship comes out of Gulf of Aden and it is being tracked by the IFC IOR and it is being tracked by the UK MTO, nobody can touch it because we have got that kind of surveillance assets now. And Barkha, and we started in 2008 when we didn't have these assets. We have the Kolkata class destroyers, we have the P8Is, we have the Predators, we have the Sea Guardians, we have the MH-60R. There is such a formidable navy now that it is no more the navy of 2008 when we started and we were struggling. Today, my navy and all the navies of the world are looking forward to exercise with you, learn the best practices, and that is why in the Indo-Pacific, the whole of the IOR is with us.
Okay, I want to bring in the admirals now on the larger question. And again, Captain D.K. Sharma, I think the country is proud of the Indian Navy and the Marcos, the daring rescue, and that there is no debate. There are no two opinions about that. I think what Dr. Mohan Kumar zooms in on, Admiral Ghormande, to you first. Can we take a side in a regional war? That what we're actually seeing on the high seas can no longer be called piracy, can no longer be called the protection of seafarers. You are actually seeing, as we saw in that dramatic video, and we look at it once more, the Houthis detonating, a drone on the waters backed by state actors in alliance with non-state actors. And as Ambassador Dr. Mohan Kumar says, the issue is Iran. This is a group that is Iran aligned. US-Iran tensions are getting worse. Admiral Ghormande, to you first.
Yeah. No, this is really a big picture, and it is a geopolitical problem. The piracy is not one-off event. And why I tell you, because from 2008 also, we had realized very clearly that the solution to piracy was not at sea. The solution and the problem lied in the land. The whole issue was emerging from there. And similarly, the present situation also is not just one-off event. And therefore, it's a larger and bigger picture. So therefore, India will take a very calculated stand in this particular state. We have always maintained, like General Hasnain brought out, that we will be under a UN coalition. We don't want to be the same. Now, I don't want to say that doesn't mean we will not be with the US or we will not be with the same. You have to be very, very, I think the diplomacy plays very well in that. So we have to take a very, very calculated decision. We have to do what is best in our interest. See, we have the forces. Indian Navy is the regional stabilizing force in the Indian Ocean. I think that is where every advanced navy, even the US Navy, looks at Indian Navy to support. All navies want to be seen with the Indian Navy because we are a force to reckon with, and we provide the stability and the balance. And therefore, we will be very, very careful to take stands in particular regional war. That
Yeah.
I think we should be very clear. We should stand in such a way that we can support our seafarers and all the international community. So
Yeah.
therefore, we need to be very, very careful on that.
That's true, and I think that is how India responds as a state. But Admiral Sinha, Ambassador Kumar says India is changing. This is not the India of 2008. We have a very deep strategic alliance with the Americans, and if perhaps in this coalition there was UAE and the Saudis, that's what you said, Ambassador Kumar, our response might be different. Do you agree, Admiral Sinha?
See, I want to make a point very clear that,
Yeah.
we are in the quad with the Americans.
Yeah.
And yet, we are buying oil from Russia. They have not, thrown us out of the quad. So the reason of being with America is very different. It's a big geopolitical reason. If that push comes to shove, and I will go back to what Ambassador Mohan Kumar said in the beginning, Indian Navy will prioritize, with Vice Chief has also mentioned, we will prioritize. If it is a full-scale war, then obviously it will be Indian flagged ships with the Indian crew or the cargo destined for India or going away from India. So that will take priority. And this will be worked out very much diplomatically. And it will be best to have a UN flag and choose the countries in that group as to who will be responsible for which kind of attack in which zone. So this is, we are looking at very full-scale war, which is a very, very remote possibility at sea.
What are you
Nobody
expecting?
has
What
that
are you
kind of force.
expecting? Let
No,
me ask
Barkha, I
you.
just
What are
want
you
to add one
expecting,
more
sir?
thing.
Yeah.
I
So,
want to tell you one more thing, Barkha. I go back to what General Hasnain said. In my sense, my belief, there are no non-state actors in the world. Okay, every non-state actor has the backing of a state, and therefore they are not non-state actors. Otherwise, they will not have power, that the kind of power they wield at sea, they land over and they do over land. I mean, look, they are all interconnected. And as the Admiral Ghormate rightly says, the trouble is on land. It is not at sea. Sea is only a manifestation. And hybrid war, I mean, absolutely. You create trouble at sea to sort out something over land. And this is exactly, it's economic warfare, really.
yeah, I think that's a really perceptive comment. And before I give General Hasnain the last word, Ambassador Kumar, since you, in a sense, generated this debate, pick up Admiral Sinha's point about there are no non-state actors. Now, if there are no non-state actors, then any response that comes from India is actually taking a side in a hybrid war, which has now entered the waters. Ambassador Kumar?
To some extent, yes. But, there are fragile states, Barkha. So I would like to nuance that statement a little bit. The Yemen is such a fragile state.
True.
And the Houthis control 2/3 of Yemen. So to that extent, you can say, okay, Houthis are operating from Yemen. And Yemen is a state, obviously. So in that sense, they are not a non-state actor. But I just want to conclude by saying that I think the geopolitical situation is advancing rapidly. And I agree with those who have said what is happening in the Red Sea or the Arabian Sea is actually a manifestation of what is happening in the Middle East. In another program in which you were kind enough to invite me, I said that the Middle East produces more geopolitics than it can consume, and what happens in the Middle East seldom stays there. And I would like to see this as vindication of those two statements, Barkha. Thank you.
That is correct. Just the opposite of Vegas. General Hasnain, let me give you the last word there. That the Middle East ripple effect is now, it's being felt all over the world, including in the Indian backwaters. I use that backwaters as a metaphor. Go ahead, General Hasnain.
Thank you. I never expected that this program will turn out to be so interesting. I was just wondering what the hell am I going to be doing in this program. But I realize now, as a land lover, there is a tremendous connect between the land and the sea. And therefore, this whole business, you see, we should look at this as a continuum from the Red Sea to Afghanistan. This whole area needs to be analyzed as in a wholesome kind of a way. There are segments and demarcations all along, but each of them connect up with each other. I was in a couple of programs in the last 2 days on television, and interestingly, the Indian media is getting it all right. They are picking up all the finer nuances here and there, something which I've been speaking over the last 2 years, that there's an inevitable second cycle of global terror which will come, which will get triggered by a major event in the Middle East. That's coming true. And the Indian media is picking it up marvelously and analyzing it. Having said that, I will disagree slightly with Admiral Sinha. Non-state actors are also definitely non-state today. For example, Boko Haram, ISIS, Al-Shabaab. You won't find too many takers around the world who will actually be supporting them. If you think that it's Iran who's doing it, no, Iran's ideology is completely different. But there may be some stakeholders within Iran who support them. It can happen from Saudi. Saudi as a state will never support all this, but there are elements within Saudi Arabia which will do it. So this is again one of those areas of gray zone where you cannot have demarcations. And we should never imagine that non-state actors are now all become state actors as such. My last point, I think this was a very interesting issue about the UAE and Saudi Arabia joining in. I think we are playing for time. India is correctly and diplomatically playing for time. The most suitable way would be to have an effective coalition, have states with whom we have already got an understanding. And I think with the UAE and Saudi Arabia, we have almost special relationships today. And therefore, if they come on board and some other nations join in, I see the beginnings of a very, very effective naval coalition in this particular zone.